The dark truth that drastically changing my videos 2 years ago taught me. What is up, winning team? Hello, everybody. And Holy Spirit, please be with me, because I don't want to make this an entire podcast. I wanted to talk about this, guys, because I've noticed a significant change in my life and on my YouTube channel ever since I decided to change how I was doing my videos. And I remember the exact thing that happened because you were all here and we were all here together. When I said, I'm going to take a week off. I don't know when I'm coming back. I took down 1,000 videos and I was like, guys, I'm going to go get up in my feelings, right? And it just taught me a dark truth that just kind of hit me today as I was thinking about it, about the world itself, right? Because in the first 3 years of this channel, I was all coming on here and talking about everything. And I remember when I started out, I never expected to be here. That's really the truth. I just made videos because I knew I was going to leave London. I knew I was leaving everything. I knew I needed to move on to something else. And I knew that I'd tasted enough of success, and I realized it wasn't good enough in life, and that it just wasn't enough to make life worth living. And so I was deeply depressed, deeply depressed. And I was so depressed, I would not open the curtains, I would not, now I just hate it here. That's a different thing. Then it was I felt this dark cloud over my head constantly. Now it's just more I just feel frustrated with the atmospheres. What's the outside just feels, I just feel ugh, you know. But internally I feel honestly pretty good. Honestly pretty good. And when I'm around people, especially because today's one of those days where I've spoken with quite a few of you guys, and I've just had one of them days where I'm oh my gosh, I love the winning team and I actually love it here. Even when I left the house today, I was I low-key love being me. That's what I was thinking. I've actually got to a point in my life where I actually like myself and I actually like being myself. And I'm actually loving being me. And that is such a strange feeling. And so it was worth it for all those reasons. But then made me realize something, that the world itself loved the old version of me. Everybody did. Everybody loved me, who was all oh, hi, making videos. At the beginning I used to try and talk like a YouTuber. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't get me wrong, I should say stuff like that, yeah, because I do want people to be here if they're actually enjoying the stuff. And I do really appreciate when people like the videos, and I do really appreciate when people subscribe, but and then I'd try and just make my videos how it's supposed to be. I'd spend an hour and a half doing my makeup and my hair, make sure everything was perfect and proper, and I would sit there for ages trying to make sure the angle was exactly right and everything was as right as I could possibly make it. And wow, and now here we are, and it's incredible. That this is where we got to. Now here we are, just come on here with my lip gloss, and that's about it. I throw on some earrings, and that's about it. That's crazy, right? And it's funny because I'm realizing that the version of me that existed before, right, people loved it, and that version of me was just the one who kind of just was who I was supposed to be according to society, nice and sweet and agreeable, and not going too far. Remember, I didn't even used to talk about God in the beginning, and it's not that I was, by the way, it was never that I was ashamed. It's just that, again, it's another thing. I felt the pressure of who am I to be talking about God on the internet? I'm no this, I'm no that. The classic deprecative way of thinking, self-deprecating way of thinking that we have, as again, it's just normal in society. In society we love feeling sorry for ourselves and talking down on ourselves. Having self-confidence is offensive to people. People consider you to be arrogant. Believing in yourself is offensive to people. We're supposed to just only take what life gives us, and yada yada yada, because that is how the world is. And so what I didn't realize is I was just so palatable to the world. And that's why we are where we are now. That's why I don't really get many views on my videos, except from you guys who are here. That's why a lot of people don't like me now. A lot of people who know me, they don't like me. And you can tell they're offended by how I've changed, and they want me to go back. And it's just not going to happen. And the dark truth that it's taught me is that in order to get to here, to who I am, where I'm actually finally happy, why I actually matter to myself and to others, I had to actually address my feelings. I had to not just push things to the side or try and keep, the peace amongst everybody, and just ignore stuff and just be gracious and agreeable and not really ever say anything to rock the boat. That's what everybody wanted. Like, that's the version of me that everybody wanted. That's the version of that's the version of us the world wants. That's what the world wants. The world wants us all to just wake up every day and put on a performance, ignore what's really going on inside, ignore how you're really feeling, ignore it, and just put on a performance. Just put on, that's what it was like. It was like I'd come on here, I'll be thinking about how should I come across. Like, nowadays, this is why, you guys, you see, like, how I don't give eye contact to the camera. I've been told about that before, like, you need to give more eye contact to the camera, and I'm like, yeah, but you see, there's a reason why I don't exactly do that. It's because I make my videos of me literally coming and talking to you guys as if I'm just airing my thoughts. When I'm airing my thoughts are not me thinking about talking to someone directly. My thoughts are just as they are. So as I'm talking, yes, I'm aware I'm talking to you guys, but also I'm actually thinking at the same time. And so if you want me to look at the whole time and think about every single word and every single crevice of so like this, every single word and every single like airbrushing of it, that's just not who I am, and that's just not what I want to be either. You know what I mean? I just not what I want to be. I don't want to be that, and that's what's funny. And so the more I delve into my emotions, and the more I've gone into that, the more I've been realizing, like, I'm quite surprised thinking of the types of videos that I make now. Like, if the Lord had told me I would be making these videos 5 years ago, oh, you best believe I would not be here whatsoever. Because what do you mean I'm here talking about the kingdom of darkness, speaking up against the leaders of the church, calling out the parents of the world, calling out, our lack of power in the body of Christ, how calling society weak and cowardly. Like, what do you mean? Like, who the hell am I? Like, that's what I would have been thinking. Like, there's no way that I'm ever going to get to that point. But I got to that point by kind of like, I don't know, I guess me delving into my own feelings, because as I said to you guys before, it was really easy for me to live my life when I was always just blaming myself, and everything that was bad that was happening was only me. And I just needed to dig deep. I just needed to do more. Like, that was always the way I thought about it. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, the second I started to actually stand up for myself, I started to realize that all this stuff I've been talking about, I was a victim of myself. And that's what happened. All this stuff I've been talking about, I was a victim of myself, and I didn't even know it because I didn't even consider it. And the thing is that I live in a world where that's what all people do, is consider how they are the victim of everything, and they're the exact opposite. And I made a video earlier today kind of talking about how I wondered why throughout the years I'd have a lot of these experiences, and the difference between how people perceive you and how you perceive yourself, and how we all talk to each other and we all talk to one another as to how we perceive how we believe we're perceived, or how we perceive ourselves. And that's one of those things I've learned in communication skills with people, is to learn also when I'm talking with somebody, is to not just try and enforce my perception onto them, which is what a lot of people have done with me, to be honest. I'm like, I'm glad you think so highly of me, because I actually hate myself. Like I've just started to like myself genuinely for the first time in the last, like, I don't know, maybe like a year or so, maybe less than a year. Let's say between a year maximum. So all these years I've had people say, oh, you love yourself so much, you this, like, you're projecting. Evidently of course I must be lovable, is what I'm realizing. But oh no, I wasn't. And because of that also, I've learned, sometimes for me, I see it in an opposite way of, like, sometimes I've learned that, I can be talking to somebody or see anybody in the world, and I might think so highly of them, and they might not be there yet, and it's also not my job to overwhelm them with trying to make them see that side. In fact, it's better that I understand where they're at, and, like, try and help them, like, be with them where they're at, and depending on the relationship, like, support them out of that. Because it's like, well, why don't you, like, and it's so funny because people say stuff to you and they don't get it, like, people would say to me, how comes how can you say, how could you be depressed, how could you this? And I'm like, yeah, because you're looking from the outside and you've not taken the time to actually, and neither have I. And I hadn't all along because I knew my feelings didn't matter to anyone because of the things I've achieved. Like I was saying this to somebody else, like about how it's a performance. It's like when I was in Italy, I'll give you the perfect depiction because you guys were physically there, so you know exactly what I mean, right? The people who came to the event, like the people who came to the show, all they saw is they come in, the lights are happening, there's music, there's food, there's drinks, and there's this big show, everybody's gathering, and it's all fun. This is you if you're an audience member, right? Then you come in and then the show starts and then there's like, the smoke machines and all this stuff happening. Everything's well coordinated. Everything's happening on time. Those of us coming up on stage, we're all smiling. We're all looking enthusiastic like we know what we're doing. They don't know what was going on behind the scenes. And this is what I'm saying is the story of my life. Like, you guys were there when I was panicking, like, I don't know, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. Guys, I've been praying all morning. I've been praying the last 30 minutes. Like, you saw all of that. You saw the chaos that ensued when there's randomly a camera crew popping up in the middle of the rehearsals. And you see when there's random stuff happening, random stuff going wrong, random arguments. This person's on drugs. That person's getting annoying the freaking AV team because she's going over there and taking what is it, Snapchats, dancing with the like. There's so much going on behind the scenes, and like that's what I always felt like my life was like. It's like, and I still feel that way where it's like when people meet me, I'm just like, just don't get excited, like just don't want to be here because whatever you perceive on the outside, it's not what it really is. And like then I was doing that on purpose, then I was trying to keep up this like image, knowing full well, like that's why when people say, oh, but so and so was so happy, we don't know why they committed suicide, it's like, yeah, that's usually how that works because it's not a safe space. And that's the truth of what I've realized, guys. That's the dark truth. The dark truth I've realized the last 2 years is that it's not a safe space. Now, I am so grateful and have no regrets because I'm closer with the Lord. I've become a lot closer with a lot of you guys. And like I said, I, for the first time, actually like myself. But then when I look at what my experience is, like even just the little things sometimes, like, and how offended people are for you to even just want the smallest of things for yourself, like, or want you to respect a certain little boundary and not just be taking whatever people want to give you or not just be accepting of it, absolutely anything. It's kind of shocking to think about, like how entitled people are. Like I said, and this is another thing I've been realizing is that how much I just enjoyed people's entitlement a lot of the time because I was like, oh, well, if I'm capable, like that was always my thought, like if I'm capable of doing it, then I should do it. And it's like, that's also what other people were thinking. Oh, you're capable of doing it, so that means I deserve to have it. And I realized, no, actually, like, hold on a minute, 1 second. Sorry, my face was like literally overheating. So I just had some water and also I had to put some cold water on my face. Oh my gosh, cooling down is just the best feeling ever. But anyway, I realized, and like this is the attitude I have now, yeah. I've kind of circled all the way around where I'm like, well, first of all, if you're all treating me as if I may as well just enjoy this. Like I may as well enjoy that everybody thinks I'm so arrogant because you guys obviously think so much higher than me than I think of myself. So evidently I should be thinking higher of myself. That's the first thing. You obviously all think that because you're the ones projecting, because I know that's not what I was thinking. And second of all, since I have so much to give, I guess I'm going to just be even more strategic now about what I'm going to do because apparently I'm the one with stuff to give. Apparently you're the ones thinking I've got so much to give to want to be taken from. So it sounds like I've actually like won anyway. Like this is what I'm saying. It sounds like I've won anyways then in the long run, even though I've lost, because now all I've learned is as soon as I'm happy and I'm doing things for me, a lot of people are unhappy, and that just goes to say a lot, doesn't it? And I'm not talking about on social media, I'm talking about in my personal life. It's like as soon as I'm actually happy, I'm actually doing things for myself, I'm actually smiling for real, I'm actually like happy to be who I am. Now I'm the problem. So I really was the slave and servant I thought I was supposed to be. Because that's what I used to say to God, like, God, am I just destined to be a slave? Like, am I destined to just be a servant to everyone? Like, do I actually matter? And it took me a long time to even bother to ask that. Like, but it was in the last 2 years, right? I didn't get there at first. At first, I was just crying. And then one day, I was like, God, but do I actually matter? Like, does it matter for me to even matter? Like, this is where we were at. That's what I'm saying. It was the standards is in the bin. I was like, does it actually matter if I actually matter? Because it seems like it's just too much hard work for everybody involved, like myself included. And it is, because now this is why I'm exhausted now, because now I'm trying to like, oh, what do I actually want out of this life? What do I actually want to achieve? Like, what? Now I'm lost. And of course, there's nobody there wanting to help me now, you know, in any of those decisions. And it's just like, whoa, like, it's so humbling. And it made me realize what I realized about the world. Like I said, this is why people put on their facade. This is why everybody wakes up and puts on this performance every day and tries to pander to those around you, because you know, it's like deep down we all know that if you actually wanted to accept yourself for who you really are, or were to behave as though who you really are, then chances are you're going to lose everything, because you have to put on a performance in order to keep those around you actually there. And that's for the most part, not all the time, but for the most part. And it is actually the truth. And if you think that isn't the truth, I want to say, go and put yourself in a situation, like go and, okay, don't actually do this yet, but you'd have to, like, in order for you to be able to test that out, you'd have to go back to baby status. And in fact, it's children that proves that to me more than anything. Because the way people talk about kids, yeah, and all the kids' needs, it's like, and what you didn't get out. Like, I'm like, but a child is a dependent. That's kind of the point. So we're all stressed about kids, and everyone thinks it's so, monumental that I look after kids for. I've always looked after kids, like, wow, how do you do it? How do you have the patience? It's like, that just actually says more about you than anything. It says that to you, a relationship, like, you don't understand that that's what kids are. Kids are dependent. That's what they are. They're dependent. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where to go. They need looking after. That's what they are. So what did you expect? Like, this is what I'm starting to wonder sometimes about adults. Like, what did you expect when you had a child? And adults will be like, oh, being a parent is a thankless job. What do you want thanks for from a 9-year-old? You gave birth to them. They're here now. What are you expecting? Things like knowing how to say thank you. These are stuff you teach them. You teach manners. You teach this. You teach that. And not out of a place of resentment. Because that's, again, where I'm just like, you see, people be in relationships and being resentful. People do stuff for you and then resent it. That's what I've also noticed. Because you see me, I don't resent doing anything for anybody. All I would say is I'm taking into account very much how quick a lot of people were to do things, and how unquick they were to, how uninvolved they felt like at the idea of anything else and helping anybody else. Does that make sense? Because it's like, wow, you have absolutely no problem. Take. But if somebody even asks you for, like, like, it's like, I feel like sometimes people act like asking them for a glass of water would be like asking them for a kidney. And you know what's funny? I gave that example, yeah. I actually found myself in this exact glass of water, exact scenario last year. And I'm not going to say under what circumstances, but I'm telling you, it was this exact situation, yeah, where I was at somebody's house, right? And this is not in Italy or whatever, but I was at somebody's house, yeah. And they had said, you can go and help yourself for... No. I was scared to ask them for a glass of water because how they were behaving. A glass of water, you guys. And I thought, ain't no way, after all these times I've given this exact example and we are now here, like, it is not costing you anything. And this is the bare minimum. And you want to call yourself a friend. And I'm in your house and I'm thinking about water. Mate, if you're at my house, I don't care. It's, do what you want. Do you know what I mean? But again, it was one of those people who, like a lot of people, they're fussy because they're demonized. I'm going to do that as the next video, actually. I'm going to do that as the exact next video about how people behave when they don't realize that they have a demon. Let me make a note of that. But yeah, so it's quite telling now that I'm actually engaging. So before, when I wasn't having any feelings, before, when people would ask me, like, how are you? And I'd always say fine. And then when they would tell me about how they're feeling, I would sit there and listen. I'll give advice. I'm going to give good advice. Do this, do this. Everybody loved me then. Before, when I was not rocking the boat, sweeping everything under the carpet. Well, I wasn't really sweeping everything under the carpet because being me, my personality always broke out to some extent. You know what I mean? Everybody loved that. When I was, the goody one who's looking after people's kids and whatever, and not saying anything about it, and just, it was great. Now that I'm here and I'm actually speaking up for myself, but I was depressed. No one cares about that part, right? No one cared. And now I'm here and I'm actually, like, happy to be myself. I'm actually enjoying life. I'm actually defending myself. I'm actually saying the things that I would like. I'm actually saying no. Yeah, now it's a problem. That's the world we're living in. Like, that's the world. That's why it doesn't surprise me that we all have all this therapy, everybody's on all these medications, because like, of course you're on these medications. Now I'm here sharing my stuff and I sound crazy when I come out and I say whatever I have to say, or I sound like I need to do this and I need to, people are like, you need to go to therapy, you need to take the med, anything that means that us in society don't have to address the truth. That's what I'm saying. That's how it is for everyone. So I'm in this experience because I'm doing what we're not supposed to do. And that's what changed my videos drastically. And now here we are. And it's quite funny because especially watching my subscriber count like isn't changing, but it actually is changing because I keep watching it go up, go down, go up, go down. And some days I would like literally gain and lose the same amount. And it's funny. And this is actually what I wanted to happen because I realized I need to change the demographic. I don't want the people who are here for the old version of who I was at the start of this channel. I want people here for the version of who I am right now. And so that's why I'm happily making my videos as candidly, as whateverly as I want to, because I don't want to keep the people who just think, oh, we liked her when she was, when she was like the rest of the world and just, putting on a facade and sweeping things under the carpet or hiding the uncomfortable things or not addressing the difficult stuff. Nah, I don't want anything to do with that, respectfully. I want to call things out because I want us to live in freedom, you guys. I've been feeling free. Like, do you know how nice it is to not care what people think? Do you know how nice it is to actually like, for example, one of the things that I've been enjoying the most is like wearing whatever the hell I want to wear. Like, I like my style now. Like, I like the style of how I dress. Now I feel confident. Before I was dressing like at first how I think a businesswoman should dress, how I think of this should dress. Now I dress how I want to dress. Now I eat what I want to eat. I don't eat like, oh, the government says this or this person says that. Oh, I eat how I want to eat. If I want to eat sardines from the fridge with garlic and pickles and all sorts of random vegetables and fruits at 2 a.m. with an ice cold lemon water, that's what I'm going to do. And guess what? I feel euphoric. And my body feels good as well. And my skin and my this. And it's just like, you know what? Other times I would it's like even little things like that. People will drain you with their like, oh, but you should do this, but it's important to have 3 meals a day, but it's important that you eat this, and it's important. Is the way it's just, and it's so funny. It's so funny to have people always telling you what to do, being the same people who accuse you of thinking you're the most important thing, like thinking you're arrogant, thinking you think everything's about you. It's like you are the one who's telling me everything I need to do, and you think I'm the one who's obsessed with me. You are the one. I'm not even telling you what I'm doing. You're the one who's worried, and I'm like, I'm good over here. That's the other thing I find weird. It's like, sorry, respectfully, but did I ever say that I needed anybody's help and advice? Respectfully, like, did I ever say I needed it? Did I ever say I was confused, I was lacking? Did I ever say I was? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And that's the crazy part. And it's funny because ever since now, in the last 2 years now, at this time in my life, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm loving life with the winning team members. I'm loving life with the friends that have managed to stay the course over the last couple of years, the ones who've stayed the way. Like I said, my friend, me and her one of my friends are gonna actually catch up tomorrow, which is a huge deal for me. Like, and the way people celebrate like holidays, like for me, that's like talking on the phone of a friend. It's a big deal for me because I really don't do trusting folks anymore. It's another thing I realized, because again, before I really thought about my feelings and really just like allowed myself to like also matter and my perspective to also matter. Like, I had to do that for myself. It was never going to come from it. Well, God does that for me all the time, I can't lie, but it's actually sitting in so many situations and realizing, no, this is actually what happened. Like, this is why I keep telling you guys about stories that like are years old, because and I heard even a psychologist even said this, that the first time you address something, sometimes it's like reliving the trauma all over again, and people are never going to understand because they're going to be like, yeah, well, that happened like 15 years ago. And then for me, I'm like that because I'm like, the whole reason I stopped crying, guys, I'll tell you why. I can tell you the exact reason I stopped crying and I stopped feeling feelings, and it was when I was 11. And it was because, so I was a kid, yeah, and I don't blame the person I'm about to mention in this, right? I don't blame them, but this is how it started. I was a kid, yeah, I was like 11, and I was really angry one day about I don't know what. I don't know. It was a kid thing. It was, it's one of those stupid things you get annoyed about as a kid, or rather, you're just not, you just don't know how to process your emotions yet, and there's a lot of emotions happening, and you don't really know what your emotion is. So I was having emotions, and I was getting quite annoyed, like quite angry, quite upset. Well, I wasn't actually. Tell you the truth, if I'm to put myself in the brain of myself at the time, I can't tell you whether I was sad or I was angry, but I was a bit of both. I think I was frustrated, is what I was. I was trying to do something, and then, in the midst of this, I was getting what was it? What was it? I started crying. I started getting angry or crying, one of the two. And then it was my dad actually who said to me, "Are you gonna?" He taunted me. He was like, "Are you gonna cry because you're angry?" Like as if like that, like, "Oh, are you gonna cry because you're angry, right?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna cry because I'm angry." Like, and like, like a kid, like, "I'm not gonna cry because I'm angry." I think it's when I was learning how to wash the dishes, because that was actually the trauma of my life, by the way. Because he was the one who taught me how to wash the dishes, yeah. And I'm grateful for the experience, because I do think it was character building, and I don't think I would be where I am today. Like, especially, like, it explains a lot about even me and my brothers, because they were never able to hold it into drawers, and it just goes to show a lot. And this is why, again, when I see grown adults arguing, it's like there's two of you in a house alone, and you guys are arguing about one of you like barely cooked and the other one has like 4 dishes to wash, and I was like 11 washing, I was like 12 washing dishes in a house of 5 with a baby, and having to do the baby bottles and this, and that was my chore every single night. All my phone would be taken away from me, and you guys are arguing as grown adults. It's a job that's going to take you literally 15 minutes. Like, it's pathetic. But I think people are weak. But anyway, so yeah, so he was one who taught me, and it was annoying, because he would make me wash all of them all over again, like the whole thing, and it wasn't nice. But it was good. Like, I feel like these are things that are actually good for kids, but like without the taunting part. The taunting part was too far. So as soon as he taunted me, he's like, and I was trying so hard, like, because I could, like, my emotions were like this, right? That's how emotions are. My emotions were like this, and I just couldn't really understand. And I was frustrated, and I'd been washing the dishes like 3 or 4 times, and I still remember, because I was barely much higher than him, and he was wearing like basketball shorts. I was barely much higher than, like, just seeing his basketball shorts being the main thing in my eye line, right? And he's like, do it again, whatever, right? And then I was like, yeah. And then so when he says, "Oh, are you gonna cry?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna." And I was like, "I'm not gonna cry because I'm angry." And then I cried because I was angry. And then he was like, "I thought you said you weren't gonna cry if you got angry." Oh my gosh. When I tell you, in my heart of hearts that day, I said, I'm never crying in front of anybody again. And when I tell you, that was the truth. And from then, I used to cry to myself, and I just would never tell anybody anything. Like, I would never cry in front of people. Like, I really wouldn't. There'd be a couple, like 1 or 2 times, like the last days of school, last day of year 6, last day of year 11, I did cry with all my friends, because we were all crying. But like, when I was going through stuff, ever since then, I just didn't do the feelings thing. I just didn't do any form of like releasing my emotions without like really overthinking it, and like having to like have a very clear plan of how I'm dealing with them. And I just always blamed myself, like, if I didn't deal with my emotions well enough. So yeah, it was kind of like opening the floodgates when I decided 2 years ago that, like, oh, I'm gonna actually address my feelings and my emotions now. Yeah, that was like not a small thing, because I'd really been holding them back, like in a big way, for like a very long time. And yeah, that was something. So and then in doing that, like I said, it was just as hell as it was, even in that kind of moment where it's just like, it's really not safe. Like, it's not safe anywhere. That's why I laugh at you guys. I'm like, is this a safe space? We know it's not a safe space. I mean, you guys, I hope you guys know, like, it's you and me and me and you guys are on my safe space, really. Like, and sometimes when I hear you guys, when I see you guys' messages or comments and stuff, I'm like, oh, I really do just like, these really are my people. But it also just does tell me the story of, like, this is just the world we're living in. Like, this is just how it is. And yeah, and so when I started to delve into my emotions, obviously this is when the songwriting began. And obviously I can't write songs at the moment. Like I'm really gonna try. Like I'm really gonna try and write a song like from these lists of songs my producer sent me. I really wanna try. I really wanna try. But it's just like, you know, when people write songs, they come from like the good songs come from a real place. You know what I mean? And that's why I can't really write a good song, because I'm like, it's just a bit too painful. Like, and I don't know. I don't know why I couldn't just be one of those people that's just like wants to write happy songs. But I feel all my songs are gonna be. I feel like they're all gonna be kind of like sad, or like sad and worshipy and sad. Like I can just feel it, because there's always the songs. And the thing is, that's not the kind of music I even listen to. I listen to lots of music. Like I listen to upbeat music. I love me a bit of EDM. I love me a bit of Afro. I love me a bit of I love really basically every genre of music. You know what I mean? So I'm here listening to all these fun songs. I've been recently listening to like not the mainstream K-pop, but like a few other K-pop songs I found through like the dance scene. I've been loving those. And then I'm like, when I go to write my own songs, it's like, yeah, it's death and dying and suffering, and like, it's like, so bruh, right? And you know, and so it's been a journey the last few years, and I don't like it. Like, I'll be honest, I feel uncomfortable every single day. Like I remember before when I used to like I wouldn't second guess. Like in the first 3 years, I wouldn't second guess uploading my videos. I'd be like, yeah, I'm uploading. Like the last 3 days, just to get out the videos the last 3 days, I wait literally till I'm about to go to sleep. I upload all of them in one go, and then I put my phone on do not disturb, so that like by the time I wake up, like it's too late to think of taking them down, because they've already been out. You know what I mean? They've already been out. And hopefully there's a comment, because if there's a comment or any comments, that means I'm definitely not taking the video down. Almost definitely. And I'm in it now. We're in it now. Like that's where we're at, because that's how anxiety inducing it is, this whole feeling stuff. And then it's also like heartbreaking again when you realize how much people really genuinely don't care. Like at least before, when my emotions weren't involved, like I said, I'm very happily be in one-sided relationships, like, because it's like I'm happy to see you win, because I told you what makes me happy, seeing other people happy. And that might sound like a bad thing, but what makes you happy? Well, I'm already doing the things that make me happy, to be honest. Like moving my body, like making food that I like, playing games. Like like I don't have like these big goals. You know what I mean? Would I like to do those things with others? That would be the highest form of that. But then, like I said, if you're telling me that we have to form relationships, then one thing I've realized is that, well, then how I feel, if we're forming an actual relationship, how I feel also matters. And evidently it doesn't really to a lot of people, and it just never will. And a large part of that is just because, you know, I come across as somebody who just, how could anything be wrong? Like I'm sure, like and this is why sometimes, yeah, one day, guys, I have pictures and footage along the way of my journey. I've taken photos and videos when I'm going through it, to prove to people, because I think people just look at me. And there's one person I know, you know, and you know, they're one of those people that tries to periodically, like, you know, it's one of my relatives, they try to like, you know, oh, you know, what's really going on with you, I really want to help, like I like. And the thing is, the reason why I don't talk to them, they just will never get it, because they don't realize how obvious they are. But like in their face when I'm talking to them, I can see that they're cold, completely cold, and they just can't believe the words leaving my mouth. And they just look at me as if like, okay, I'm not seeing it. Like, and as far as they're concerned, because they're not seeing it, it's not real. You know what I mean? And that's a lot of people as well. Or because they're like, but how can that be because this and this, or how can that be because that and that, and how, like, you know, even the things that I've achieved, like how could this be happening to you when you I don't know, you guys know what I'm talking about, you know, when you were able to, I don't know. You know, it's even like when people talk to me, like it's even like talking to the older folks, yeah. Like they're like that about the struggles of people in my age group, right? And like, fortunately for me, because I have made it work for myself, it makes it hard for me, because I'm like, again, the reason that makes it harder for the other ones in my age group, because then they're like, yeah, but you managed to do this and you managed to do that, and I'm like, yeah, I know, but then like I literally killed myself to do it. I literally tried so many times to actually kill myself to do it. Like I literally along the way was actively, proactively making attempts on my own life along the way, because that's how stressful it was, and that's how it was. So it's like, is that what you want your child to do? Is that what you want the other people in my generation to do in order to get this? No, it isn't. And those are the parts you don't see. Going back to what I was saying about the performance thing, when people are seeing you on stage and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. And all they do is they come in, they take their photos, they have a good time, and they go home. And that's the only lens they have. They don't see what happened behind the scenes. They don't see what was happening during the day. They don't see what was happening at the rehearsals the day before. They don't see what was happening in the individual lives. They don't know that, like, one of the guys who was there, by the way, he's now in a coma, right? Because of, taking drugs, and whatnot. They don't know that, there's people in the very thing, like, somebody there, was struggling with a particular, alcohol situation. And so all of production made it so there was no alcohol, like, basically anywhere, in any of the changing rooms. And I think almost on the whole premises altogether, just to help out this one person, which is great. But I'm just saying, these are the things you don't know when you think, oh, these are people that have all got their life together. And I'm learning that one year we come back and all of a sudden they've removed all the alcohol off of the premises. And I can't remember how it even came up, because of somebody the previous year who hadn't even, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, like. And that's the thing. And I think that's probably the cruelest thing of my life, about my life, that I've had to just accept now. And I think it's just a thing as winners, is that whatever you've been through, like, no one's ever really going, like, unless there are other winners, people are just never going to believe that anything bad can or has ever happened to you. Like, I was thinking about this earlier, because as I was dilly-dally, what was I doing? I think I was working. Was I working? I think I was working. Earlier, and I was seeing this girl, her name's India Love, and how I've known about her in and out, because she'd been involved in Kai Cenat's Streamers University, and she's kind of one of these girls. She's super pretty, and got with a lot of, I guess, famous people, and now she's turned her life to God. And I saw that, like, she's getting given a hard time because of her past, because obviously she's been with a lot of guys, I guess, and she played into, the character of kind of being the pretty mean girl kind of thing. And so now people won't forgive her, and she's like, but you guys don't understand. And she was saying, and I understand, I'm not so victimhood, and I'm not so bitter and jealous that I can't hear where someone's coming from, So when she was saying, like, oh, people don't understand what I went through, like, as a kid, and how it affects me. And then people go, well, we can understand what happened to you as a kid, but as an adult. And it's like, do you expect, like, this is why I don't want to be a part of this world. Yeah, this is one of the main things. Like, when I hear stories like this, these are the stories that make me want to kill myself. If anybody wants to know a perspective, I'll say this for the sake of all the other people, all the other men and women who've experienced what I'm about to say. I'll say this for other people who don't get it, right? When you hear people say stuff like that, it's like, do you not think it all has an impact? Like, when you're a kid, like, and I wasn't even in her situation. I wasn't here going around, sleeping with all these rappers and anything. In fact, I thank God that my childhood trauma made me so nervous about the idea of anybody ever seeing me naked, to the point I'd never even kissed a guy at secondary school. You know what I mean? I was just like, this is too scary. You know what I mean? But, when you're, like, taught something from a young age, like, you're overly sexualized, and it's true. I've said the statistics, because I even saw about her situation, someone say, being pretty isn't something that makes you more likely to get abused or whatever. And then, so actually it is. Statistically, it is that predators prefer kids who they think are better looking. That's the statistics. So again, it's giving loser energy, like, to just assume that somebody's just getting it in their head, like, this is what we're living in. Yeah, but anyway, when you're, like, groomed, I'm thinking about this as a young woman, yeah, because this is one of those things that bothers me, like, especially now I'm facing my feelings, rather than just beating myself up and just saying you're just the scum of the earth and you should have known better and you should have come out of the womb knowing everything right, which is basically what I thought up until just before 2 years ago. I think about it, and I think at every stage of it's honestly amazing that things didn't get worse, considering how sexualized I was and everything. And to think that after having all these different people touching my body constantly all the time, even today somebody touched my body and I didn't like it, and it was just a tap. But even still, I'm like, would you do that to a grown man in this scenario? Like, would you do that to a grown man? No, you wouldn't, right? But the entitlement to touching my body, the obsession with me and me sexually, the reinforcing of how okay this is, you know, like when it's like the predators telling you, no, this is okay, this is normal, this is normal, this is this, yeah. So do you mean to tell me that at the same exact time of all of that, from when you were a child and all of this, and then all of a sudden at 11:59 and 59 seconds, the day before my birthday, that's acceptable, but then 1 second later, all of a sudden I'm supposed to understand how every single thing before that was wrong without somebody actually helping me or me actually coming to any knowledge? You mean to tell me all of a sudden my entire behavior is supposed to change overnight? Because I'll tell you guys this, guys, the year that I beat myself up for the most is the year I was 18, like the year I moved out. And I've said this before because I made a lot of poor decisions that year, like in so many different areas about so many different things. And the fact that just because overnight I turned 18 and now I'm just to blame and I was somehow supposed to know. It's taken me until now, guys, to understand most of this stuff. It's taken me until now. But in the world I'm living in, that's so unforgiving, there's too much water under the bridge. And I realized, you know what I was realizing when it was her? I was realizing, you know what it is? It's that the people who are acting like that, it's the people who are jealous they couldn't do it themselves. It's the people who wish they could have been doing all that stuff. It's the men and the women who wish they could have had, the women who wish they could have been having access to all those different guys at her, when she was. And it's the guys who wish they could have had access to a girl like her when they were that age. It's the haters. Because it is reasonable. It is reasonable not to know, and it is reasonable to grow, and it is reasonable sometimes to not do things right and to be a human being. And it's so funny that of all the people in the world who had to tell me and teach me about the fact that don't worry, you're just a human, like stop beating yourself up, it's just a human, of all people, do you know who that it was? It was God. Because of all this time I've spent with God, especially over the last 2 years where I've not necessarily been where I wanted to be. I haven't been like on fire as well as I was, you know, in the first 3 years, you know, and doing as much praying and fasting as I was, right? And that's because I've been so busy with humans. And I'm like, God, I feel so bad. But how is this okay? How is it? It's like, no, it's okay, my darling, just keep doing your best. Like, and you know, he's so reassuring. I'm like, God, how is that okay though? And he's like, because you're a human. Because you're a human. It's okay because you're a human. And so now that I allow myself to be a human, right? I allow myself to have human feelings, right? I get to have feelings. No, I don't want to do this. Why? Because I don't want to. Full stop. But you feel like this. Oh yeah, you feel like that? Guess what? I feel like something as well. Because guess what? I'm also a human. Like, it's taking me all this time to get to this point. And it's actually heartbreaking to think about. I'm going to be 30 next year. I've wasted all my 20s. Gone on all this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. You know, it's the little things. It's the little things. It's the little things, you know? Like I said about winter, people are like, you can't like winter. Do you love me for who I am or don't you? Because if you love me for who I am, then you should just need to accept that my favorite season is winter. And that's the season I like. Because guess what? I'm a human. I get to also, guess what? There isn't a right favorite season. And you would be surprised how people act around these things. You're probably thinking, of course, that's fine. Of course, do what you want. No. That's because you guys are here. That's because we're here. This is what we operate like. Not the rest of them. The rest of them, they ain't doing that. They ain't doing that. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. So that's why the things have changed, because I've been, but now all of a sudden I'm like, I feel freer. I feel like I've intentionally the last couple of years done things like just not overthought a lot of stuff. And has it got me into precarious situations? It has. You know what I mean? I ended up in prison last year, in hospital. But it's all been worth it, because you know what? While I was in hospital, even, I remember I was sitting there and I hate it, because the reason I hate the thought of being in hospital more than what the doctors are doing is I don't want people fussing over me. I don't want people that know me, because I don't want to feel like a burden. That's what it is. I don't want to be made to feel like a burden. I don't want to end up in hospital and be made to feel like a burden, because feeling like a burden is why I wanted to kill myself in the first place. That's why I've always wanted to kill myself from the very beginning. So I'm just like, I don't want this. I don't want to be around anyone. I'm just like, just stay away. God forbid I cause you any amount of discomfort in your life from me being there. Like, just stay away. Like, stay away, because I'm not going to be made to feel guilty, right? For just being a human and just existing. So just stay clear. Like, that's how I feel about it all. And then obviously there's a part of me that also just doesn't want to feel like one, you know, and not want to actually be one. And who knows that I am, because you know what? A lot of things have happened. You know what? I have actually been through a lot of stuff. I really have been through a lot of stuff. I've really been seeing a lot of things, you know, and I really haven't, you know, I really just have. Like, when I realized all these times when every single season of my life, there's a Jezebel, and there's always the including now, there's always the jury of the sheeple that's swayed on her side. Every single season of my life. Do you know what that's like? to know that anytime you have a group of friends or a community, that there's the likelihood is at a drop of a hat they're all going to turn on you, and then there's going to be the mental turmoil of everybody telling you that this is all your fault, you must be the wrong one, you're immediately assuming it's their side. Do you know what that's actually like? Some of you actually do. It's horrifying. It's horrifying and it's heartbreaking to be left there by yourself. And then the sickening part of it isn't even that part. The sickening part is when some of those people then fast forward in time, when they realize coming forward, like I said, my friend who used to be my closest of all close friends, the one friend I was like, wow, we're going to be friends for life, coming back 9 years later. And yeah, I feel like I've had to realize with that relationship, it's not going to work because it's too much water under the bridge now. Because I'm like, in 9 years, and no point in that time did you bother. We were the closest friends we had with each other. And in all that time, you didn't bother. Do you know how hurtful that is? I don't think people understand that, because it's easy to think about it in practice. When you've never actually lost an entire community, right? You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like, And then when people ask you, like, what are you excited about doing for the holidays? Excited about doing this, doing that? And it's like, no, I'm not. Like, I'm not excited for anything, because at the drop of a hat, everybody. And then in order for me to prove myself, and then I'm the one in the wrong. And you know what I've realized, guys? This is just the realities of being a Christian. This is the realities, because the Bible says, Jesus said, just as they hated me, so they will hate you. It's isolating and all of this. And that's what makes it all worth it. That's why I can sit here now and say, guys, I think this is the best freaking thing ever. Like, actually choosing, like, the kingdom of heaven is, like, the best decision anybody could ever make. Like, I genuinely feel like it's the best decision. Because if everything I've done has all been, everything that's happened has all been a result of the fact that I'm a child of the Lord, then that just means, and it's true, because everything is validated by it, because it's all my experiences are the same experiences as people in the Bible. Let's be real. Let's be so freaking for real, literally. Then I'm like, yo, that just tells me that I can be so incredibly sure of where I'm going to be on the other side, because the proof is right here. Now that I'm talking thick levels of truth, wisdom of the Bible, I'm talking winning. And look how people don't want to be here. When I was, now that I've, stripped my life back, and I'm not chasing this and chasing that and chasing the world's accolades, biting my tongue to make people feel more comfortable, ignoring my own wants and or needs. Now it's crickets. But you know what? I'm actually enjoying the crickets. It's actually nice. I guess what? I'm going to talk to you lovely folks. A few of you got to get back to in my messages. I'm going to got work to finish off today as well still. And then guess what I'm going to do? I meal prepped this afternoon. When I had some time, I went on a walk while I was talking to you guys. I came back, I meal prepped. Yeah, I'm going to finish my work of the day, working with the kids, doing something of value. Then I'm going to have my evening. I've got my game I started playing. I can't wait to go back to playing it, because I'm really trying to get to a high level on it. And it's a random game, guys. I've been finding these random games. Is this game making shawarma? This is what I mean. Like, I just be finding these most random games, and I'll like play them like non-stop for like 1-2 days, and just like master the game and then move on. And sometimes it'll be like a mobile game, sometimes like a PC game, sometimes like a console game, like, whatever. You guys know, wherever the word game is, I'm there. And that's going to do the evening. And I'm going to just, probably watch funny videos and just enjoy my evening, and just know that I spoke to the people. I'm about to film my video about my Bible series. Like, I'm actually winning, like, now. All these things that I lost, and for what? So it was worth it. But it was hell. It was hell to get here. And like I said, it just goes to show that this world we're living in, if this is my experience, everything I've said is my experience, then this is the experience of others. And I know some of you already, because we spoke about it, have been through like literally the same things. This is the proof. The proof is, when I was all goody giving everybody what they wanted to hear, playing up the character myself, and just everybody's flipping, just a utility, everybody's little servant, little slave. Everybody loved me. As soon as I had thoughts, and I had feelings, and I had an opinion, and I had a personality, it was a problem. Just like how people act with children. When they're all little babies and they're tiny and squidgy, and all they do is eat, sleep, poop, repeat. You love them. Oh, they're so cute. Put them in their little outfits. They start asking questions. They start having their own thoughts. They start having their own personalities. And all of a sudden, terrible twos. Why? Oh, maybe, like the rest of us, they want to understand the world they're living in. Maybe they matter. Maybe they actually matter. Maybe their questions matter. And that's why, if I have to say anything, thank you to the Lord Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit, God the Father, and winning team members for making me realize that I actually matter. Because, yeah. And I hope you know that every single one of you, listen, I will cancel work and everything to let you people know that you matter. You matter to me, at least, and you matter to God. I can't speak for the rest of the world. And anybody on the team also feels the same way, because you better. Otherwise, what team did you think you was on if we're not telling them the rest of the team that they matter, right? You guys all matter here. And thank you for making me feel that way. And I really, I hate saying it because it kind of makes me cringe. Like on the inside, because like, who cares? Because you know me and the whole feelings thing, it makes me uncomfortable. But it is important, right? Because the way you see yourself and the way you value yourself, it also just does change how you interact in relationships. And that's something I've noticed, is that I'm really good at forming one-sided relationships where the other person doesn't really know me. Like, they get a lot from me and I enjoy being around them, and I enjoy also being there for them and knowing about them, but no one ever really, I don't think anybody ever really gets to know me, and I don't really know how I'm supposed to get to doing that. Well, actually, I've done it here. I don't know what you guys do. I don't know how it's happened like this, but again, I feel like it's because I started out the channel just saying whatever I was saying, like just saying whatever I had to say, as if no one was listening, as if I was by myself, as if it's just my thoughts in my own head. And so that's why I want to kind of try and keep it that way, and try and just, the way I do my videos, just stay the way I want to. I hope and I pray that no matter what happens, sometimes I think to myself, like, I should upgrade my camera equipment, I should upgrade this, and I should do this. And then I think, you know what? I think there's a beauty in the fact that I just be on my phone while I'm on a walk, going to the freaking wherever I'm going, or out, like, you know, just sitting on the hill and whatever, and talking to you guys. I feel like there's something so just like, I don't want to lose that ever. And so I honestly think that whatever happens, I'm going to stay doing my videos like this. And even, hey, I could be all up in the castle in Antarctica, and I'm going to still be doing the same videos, walking around with my phone vertical. And you guys having like the rest of the other two black sides of the thing, and I'm going to be walking around my castle in Antarctica just the same, because I feel like this is authentic. But yeah, I hope that this was good. I felt like this was a really good, important video, because like I said, it's been about exactly 5 years since I met, over 5 years since I left London. And no regrets. But like, yeah, like I said, as soon as I started to actually have my feelings, and so now I understand why people in the world don't feel comfortable going out and sharing their feelings, or feeling like they have a space, because you actually genuinely don't have a safe space. There is not a safe space. It's not a safe space. There's no safe spaces. It's not a safe space. Like, I actually get it now. And no wonder we all have to have all these mental health disorders and all these things in order to get people to love you the way you deserve, because people like almost need a reason to give you what you need, right? They need a way. Somebody has to tell them, because we just don't possess the abilities. And unfortunately for some of us, I overdosed on the love of God, as in God has just loved me to a point where just now I recognize that I can't really participate with the standard of love that exists here. It just isn't working for me anymore. I don't want to give it, nor do I want to receive it. I want to give as though the Lord has given. And that's my thing, guys. I never say this, but it's the truth. The truth about me in relationships is not that I worry about people. I just don't think people are ready for real love. That's the truth. I don't think people really are ready for real love, ready to be loved. And I'm not willing to compromise. It's just not going to be it. Like, I want to love the way God created for me to be, to love others, like, and not just like this, whatever the world's version is of it. So that's also why I make my videos the way I do, because it's like, listen, if I love you, I tell you the truth. If I love somebody, I'll tell you the truth, because I want to see you win. I want to see you thrive. I want to see you make it to heaven. Anybody got time to not be doing anything that's going to stop you from getting there? You know what I mean? So anyways, guys, if life is a game, it's played to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.